All right, I think I'm going. This is Ruby of Pear. You can't see. They just kind of wrote it in marker on the bag, but this was a free sample from Taiwan sourcing, and so I've been really looking forward to this one. I am going to do a boba, but I'm gonna do it a little differently. Definitely not gonna use any tapioca pearls. I'm gonna use ice cream. Now, in the past, I have really enjoyed doing matcha with ice cream. It's really good. I love the caffeine kick that makes me just want to eat the ice cream. But I figured I would try it with the Taiwanese black tea, or Oriental Beauty, rather, because I do really enjoy the Taiwanese tea with the milk, the boba and the milk. And I was thinking today what I was going to sweeten the boba with. I have some honey that I was thinking about using, and I was like, nah. So I went and got some vanilla ice cream, so I'm going to try that. This is the cold brew. As you can see, it's very green, and so what is what I expect from a summer picking. This is fairly high elevation. There's a lot of information concerning this on the website that I'm not going to go into, but yeah, high elevation, roast level 1, so not highly roasted. The smell on the dry leaf is, I would say, it's typically, you know, sweet, as you'd expect from a Taiwanese black tea, but it's definitely not an Oriental Beauty. It doesn't smell that way anyway. It is sweet, and it has something of a peppery note about it. Definitely a fruit sweetness, but that kind of peppery note really is very prevalent, and so kind of hard to pinpoint what the fruit sweetness may be. I would say maybe it's peppery like a papaya seed. So maybe imagine, yeah, maybe a very mature papaya fruit if the seeds were also crushed. There you go. So anyway, that's cold brew. Again, very clean, very green. No activity that I could see. Very transparent. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I expect from a summer picking. Very light, very green. Not fresh green like the high mountain oolongs, though. Definitely a darker, a darker roast. The roasting is there. It's really more on the back end. I'm afraid that maybe I used a bit too much water with this. But again, like I said, it is typical of the summer picked oolongs to be kind of light bodied. But still, I worry that it's not quite strong enough. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the boba, and again, it's just going to be the vanilla ice cream, and I cooked some of the leaves on the stove, and then I let it cool, and I put it in the freezer. So I actually need this to thaw just a bit, actually. I had a feeling that I left it in the freezer for just a bit too long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put just a little bit of hot water in this. I don't think it's gonna harm too much. Let's see. There we go. So the thing is I didn't want the ice cream to melt right away. Typically with the matcha, what I do is I just add the dry powder to the ice cream and stir it up really good until it's a nice creamy, thick green consistency. And then I eat it with a spoon. And so I was wanting to do something similar with this. But I knew it was going to be a bit of a challenge. And so I'm going to pour off the liquor first and then add the ice cream. So that's how much we got, which is, I think, too much for the purposes of this video, but I think we'll be okay. All right, so let's stir that around. So yeah, so right away, definitely not gonna be able to eat this. This is definitely going to be a boba drink for sure. So yeah, learn as we go. But I'll tell you that so far, it does look good. I'm just going to get all the clumps out so that I get a nice, there we go. All right, so that is vanilla ice cream and black beauty, basically Taiwanese black tea. It's really good. I like this. So I'll tell you right away, definitely gonna do this again for sure. Wow. But I think I still prefer the boba, you know, just the straight up milk. But this is a really good option. Really good option. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I prefer the winter pickings for the Taiwanese Oriental Beauty. It's just darker, more rich, more flavor. It's just stronger, you know. Like I said, these summer pickings are good, but just kind of light bodied. And so I'm imagining what this tastes like with a really rich, deep, chocolatey winter picking. That was really good. All right. So now I'm gonna try to wash this glass. And it's actually not going bad. Let's see. That wasn't horrible. I'm a little afraid that I still have a little bit of residue in there from the milk. Let's see. So this isn't going to be perfect. Oh no. Not perfect, but not bad. Alright, so I'm going to hit this tea really hard with really hot water. I'm going to steep this. I'm going to do fairly quick infusions just because I already have an idea of what it's going to taste like, really strong. And I have a feeling that I'm going to definitely want to brew this up very strong. And so I figured, why not start with the short brew and then go long, you know? Plus, you never know. I might actually prefer the fast brew. Yeah, so you can definitely smell a little bit of the roast. Not a lot of leaf in there. Very, very like chocolatey, like milk chocolate though. Smells really good. I'm trying to get that fruit that's in there. It's almost like a grape, but it's not quite a grape. Yeah, it's not quite an Oriental beauty, but it's definitely in the neighborhood. All right, so again, I'm going to do this fairly quickly here. I'm going to try to use just enough water. 5, 10 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 30 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, and 6 Mississippi. All right. And my goodness, we have a fairly dark brew with only about a 10-15 second steeping time. There we go. So that is amazing. I don't expect that from a summer picking. So I'm really glad I did this short infusion. What? All right, let's cool it off some. Let's do that again. I got something weird here, and I'm yeah, so kind of a sour note. But honestly, I don't know if it's because there's some residue still in the glass from the ice cream. Maybe it's my palate, which of course, you know, ice cream has done something to my palate for sure. But it is definitely, you know, still chocolatey. You can definitely taste a little bit of that roast. To say that it's roast level 1, and I've had teas from this site before, especially like the heavier roasted teas, and I don't know if I remember any of the like roast level 4s being 4 times as roasted as this one. This one is, you know, the roast level is, you can definitely taste it for sure. I'm gonna go just a little bit longer on this one. I can see the color changing. It is definitely a green here in the glass. When I pour it off, I'm sure that's going to change. But it looks green right now. Alright. That's gotta be, what, 30 seconds maybe? And leaves now are really starting to open up. Not quite fully unfurled, but they're definitely getting there. I think when I was showing this the last time, I didn't quite put it in front of the camera. I'm gonna have to definitely look back and see how well I'm doing now. But yeah, starting to get a little bit of a green aroma. I'm certain that it's the tea, because it's right on the front end, and it's not like sour. It's just sharp, sharp minerality, and it really shocked me. You know, the first time I tasted it, I was like, whoa, you know, it's just something you don't expect. But it's definitely there. But like I said, it's on the front end, and then it goes away like almost immediately. But yeah, but the roast level is definitely there, a bit roasted, chocolatey notes, sweet of course, no bitterness whatsoever. And again, there's still that fruit in there. That's kind of fading now. It was at first, it was kind of on the back end. Now it's kind of in the aftertaste. But it's definitely there. It's definitely not like an Oriental Beauty kind of grape flavor. It's something else. All right, so now that these leaves are really starting to open up, I'm going to hit this thing pretty hard, and I'm going to give it a full minute and 30 seconds, because I think that second infusion was probably close to a minute, and so I want to make sure I give it a full minute and a half. I was looking at something just the other day online, and they were talking about steeping instructions of I think 3 to 5 minutes or something like that. And you know, there are definitely a lot of teas that you can definitely do you know, grandpa style brewing, where you just let the leaves just sit there in the water and you really never have to pour it off, you know. This may be one of those teas, just because it's, you know, very mild. I don't know if you can ever get any bitterness out of this. And I've gone through a bunch of these Taiwanese black teas before, and I have definitely found bitterness for sure. And I think that's more prevalent in the winter pickings more than it is the spring or summer pickings. But some of these summer oolongs can definitely pack a punch. This one I don't think has it in it, because even after a minute and a half, like, I just don't see it happening. The color is not changing much. Maybe if the roast level was higher, maybe that can happen, but with this one, I don't think you can overbrew this thing. And so now the leaves, I will say, are completely open. There's still some that's kind of hanging on in there. So I mean, we're definitely gonna go at least 3 more good infusions, at least. But the aroma is starting to come down just a little bit. You know what? It's like a pastry. It's oh yeah, I've found this before in a Taiwanese oolong. It is like one of those like baked cherry breads. I don't know the technical term for it, but I've definitely had it. It's almost kind of like a cake, but it has fresh cherries in it. You know, the cherries are baked into the cake, and it's a soft cake, not like a white cake, more like a cornbread or something like that. But it's but that's exactly what that smells like. Yeah, and that makes sense, you know, because that cake, the cherries are kind of burnt, right? So that's the roast that you get. It's definitely a cherry, but like a dark red cherry aroma. But there's some of that the spiciness that I got off the dry leaf. I think that's what's giving it sort of that bready note on the wet leaf. All right. Yeah, minute and a half. There is absolutely no bitterness whatsoever, and I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. So I'm going to heat the water again, and I'm just going to hit this thing as long as I can possibly stand it to really push it and see what more I can get out of it. I think, you know, I've found, I think, what this tea represents, what this tea is, and it definitely is sweet, you know, lightly roasted, definitely kind of a dark sweet cherry, you know, and by overbrewing it, the only thing you're gonna do is just heighten, I think, heighten the roasting on it. Maybe some greenness will come out of it, but I doubt that, honestly. The fermentation online says 85%, which means most of the green is gone. This is no longer a green leaf, even though you can see the leaves in there are definitely green. No question about it. They're not completely black, and we know that the cold brew is definitely a green liquor. All right, so I got the water super hot, and I'm trying to use as little as possible. And I don't know how many infusions we have gone through. This has got to be something like infusion number 5 or something, at least. See a little hair. I was watching a YouTube video the other night, and this lady was reviewing some teas, and she said, I used to worry about cat hair being in the tea, but now I don't worry about it. And I was like, oh no, you know, ugh. But I guess, you know, it is what it is, especially when you live with cats. But yeah, I definitely don't like to see hair or anything really in my tea or anything that I'm drinking, honestly. But I definitely don't like throw the whole thing away, you know, like if I see a hair or something, I just grab it out, you know. But yeah, I do not want to be in that situation. I'm not a cat person. I'm definitely a dog person. But I'm also not a fan of dogs like in the house. So like I can't imagine having like a shedding dog in the house. Like I can't imagine it. You know, if the minute that I start seeing hair, I would have to put that dog out. There's no way. Same thing with cats. I cannot, you know. I feel that way about dating too, you know. Sometimes you have to just put up with it. It is what it is. But if I don't have to, I do not want to date a lady that just sheds hair all over the place, because it is not fun. You go to sleep at night, you cuddle up, and then there's just all this hair in your face. No, thank you. Everywhere you go, her hair is all in your clothes, and I'd rather not, you know. I'd rather not. All right, so I don't have a timer on this. That's gotta be longer than a minute. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. I mean, come on. Right? And I don't think my patients are going to allow much longer. So here's the thing. Like I said, I have definitely found the bitterness in these oolongs before. And at this point, I'm not sure I'm going to find the bitterness in this tea. I just don't think it's there. I think there's just no such thing as overbrewing this tea. I just don't think it's possible. And I'm trying really, really hard. Granted, this is, like I said, the 5th or so odd infusion. So, let's see. Yeah, the color has not changed at all. It is the same color it was in the first infusion. Still some roasted notes on the nose. Fairly clean brew. A little bit of plant material, but not much. Not a lot of activity. Yep, there we go. And it's starting to die out. So how many was that? Like, I don't know, 5 or something. Not a lot of leaf. You know, so I'm not gonna say this is like super long lasting, which I'm a little disappointed by, honestly, because that means like kind of done brewing tea tonight. You know, maybe I can set this down and forget about it and maybe get 1 or 2 more out of it, but I think that's it. The cold brew, you know, cold brew is pretty good. I'm going to try to infuse this a second time, but I seriously doubt it's going to go 3 times. So a little disappointing, but like I said, it's a decent tea. And personally, like I said, I prefer the winter pickings just because they're stronger, darker, and honestly, I have not figured out my preferences on the roasts. In my experience, the roast can take away from the flavor of the tea because all you're tasting is the roast, and that's not fun. But the roast definitely does add to the flavor profile and the aroma and just, I think, the enjoyment and also the longevity of the tea as well. So there's definitely a balance. I probably prefer lightly roasted versus heavily roasted, because the heavier roasted oolongs I've had, I did not really care for. So like I said, this one is nice and bright, summer picking, you know, green liquor coming out of the cold brew is exactly what you expect. Definitely not a Oriental beauty, but a solid Taiwanese black tea. From me to you.